Galatians 5:11, and I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offence of the cross ceased. So I really like this verse because it's basically Paul saying, hey, you will know if I am preaching work salvation, because then I will no longer be being persecuted. And isn't that the truth? Because I am shocked at how many people I interact with on a regular basis who hate the gospel. It makes them so angry, so furiously, violently angry to hear that they contribute nothing to their salvation except for the sin that made it necessary. It's not surprising this offends so many people. Human beings are prideful, and this is something the Bible is constantly criticizing about us. When Jesus was interacting with the Pharisees, something that constantly came up is how self-righteous they were, how much they wanted to believe that their good works and keeping to their traditions was making them righteous. And nowadays, of course, every single religion except Christianity preaches that you need to do good works in order to earn some kind of reward from the divine. And even within nominal Christianity, there's the Catholics, the Orthodox, the mainline Protestants. One time I went to an Anglican service, the pastor just stood up and said, there are some people who think you don't have to do any works to be saved. I think that's nonsense. The actual people who genuinely believe in salvation by faith alone, meaning your works do not play any role in your salvation, is actually incredibly small. And that's why Jesus said, straight is the path and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And yes, taking this stand against work salvation does lead to persecution, as Jesus said would happen to all faithful Christians. And while it's not true to say that everyone else experiences no persecution, they never experience persecution for teaching works alone. Catholics during the Reformation in the UK were persecuted. Some of them were even killed. But they weren't killed for preaching that we need to cooperate with God's grace by doing good work. They were killed for saying that we need to continue to be loyal to a foreign power, the papacy. Obviously, that's not a justification, but the point is, nobody has ever been persecuted for saying that we need to do works in order to be saved. Meanwhile, many people throughout history have been persecuted for saying that we're saved by faith alone. There was this persecuted Christian group in the UK called the Lollards, and the interesting thing about that name is that Lollard basically means a stupid person, an idiot. And the reason they said this is because they said, well, these people who preach salvation by faith alone, they're not as smart as us, the fancy Catholic theologians. Again, the culprit here is pride. These are people who do not want to know that Jesus Christ paid for them. And while it's very sad that pride motivates them to violently persecute those who preach the gospel, the saddest thing is that pride motivates them to reject the gospel by which they could otherwise be saved.